Hi. Oh, I have missed you, especially the kids in my Sunday school class. I have to say hi to you from your crazy teacher. I miss learning with you, and I miss laughing with you. And I really miss seeing everybody. I miss being at church and seeing all of you. And I bet there's a lot of things that you miss too. You know, I miss seeing friends and family and doing so many things that I enjoy. Oh, we all miss those things, and there are a lot of things we take for granted. You know, we don't realize that we're going to miss them until they're not there. It's like electricity. I walk in the room, I flip on the light switch, turn on the lamp, or turn on the TV, and it just comes on. I don't think about it. I don't appreciate it. I just take it for granted till there's a power failure, and then I say, "Oh, I missed that." Okay, and boy, it's made me think. You know, I really don't want to take the things that matter to me and just take them for granted. I really want to be thankful for these things. They matter. You mattered. And Jesus matters, and that's what we're going to be talking about today, because with COVID, I've realized, boy, I don't want to take Christmas for granted. I want to really prepare for Christmas. I want to really appreciate everything about the holiday. I want to appreciate preparing for Jesus' birth, because Jesus was born a human. He was born and he has a life like ours. You know, that was a big deal. He could have stayed in the comfort of heaven, but no, he came down to earth where there are problems. And he had all the feelings that we have. I mean, he had happy feelings. He had the happy feelings of like being loved, or being with friends, or eating a favorite meal, or playing a favorite game, or being all cozy and snuggled up, or laughing. Laughing was probably a good one. You know, we all enjoyed those things. And then he had the sad feelings. You know, he skinned his knee. You know, he bled and got hurt. He had accidents. He felt hungry. He felt tired, grouchy. He felt lonely. You know, and sometimes he felt frustrated, or left out, or angry, just plain angry. But Jesus even cried. And there wasn't anything that we feel that Jesus didn't feel. And that's a comforting thought, because that means Jesus really understands what we feel. So that's even more of a reason that I want to appreciate Jesus this Christmas. I want to really stop and pay attention. I don't want to be like the light switch I flick on and I don't pay attention. I want to pay attention during this season of Advent. Advent starts this weekend, and it's the 4 weeks before Christmas. And it's meant to be the time that we pay attention to Jesus and get ready to celebrate his birthday. But this year more than ever, I really want to do it, because, you know, many things can be taken away, but Jesus cannot be taken away. His love never ends, and that's even more of a reason to appreciate him. So I want to pay attention, and I thought of a way to do it, like a treasure hunt, where we find clues. And every time you see something, you're back to thinking about Jesus. You found the clue. You did it again. You know, your mind was drifting, but then you thought about Jesus. And I thought of some kinds of clues we could think of, and you might even think of more. But here's some I came up with. Like the colors of Christmas. That you know. 3 colors of Christmas. White, red, green, right? And all of those have meaning. They're not just any colors. They all have meaning. So when you see white, think of light. Because Jesus said, I am the light of life, because he guides our way. And think of how he does that with light. On your Advent candle, right? That's a flame, that's light. You know, the Star of Bethlehem that was above the wise men, it was guiding them to Jesus. If you see a star, count it as a treasure hunt clue. You got it. Even if you see a star again the next night, and then you see another star that same night, a different star and a different star, they're all clues because they made you think of Jesus again. And it'll keep us appreciating Jesus. And think of all the reflection that we see in the Christmas decorations that reflect the light. So think how things have glitter on them, and how we have lights outside. You know, we have the Christmas lights in our house and the Christmas lights outside, but then we also hang shiny things of silver and gold, and you know, the wrapping paper's shiny and the ornaments are shiny and they reflect the light like we are supposed to reflect Jesus' light. That's another reason to really think about Jesus and appreciate him, that he gives us an opportunity to reflect his love and light. Wow, that's a gift. That's a Christmas gift. You know, so there's so much about white that you can think of, and you might think of more than I just named. And then think about red. Jesus was human. That means he had blood. Now you might say, well, that's kind of gross for Christmas, but, well, that's life. That's how we live. Is the blood is circulating in our body. It's our heart. You know, we think of our heart as red, right? And when he skinned his knee, or when you get cut, you think of that as red. And the great thing about that is that, think about it. If you bleed, then that blood that's been going all through your body and bringing oxygen to all your organs and keeping you alive, it's also going to go to that cut and make a scab, and it's going to heal. It's going to begin healing. Jesus heals us. That's another thing to appreciate. The healing love of Jesus. So think of red and the life of Jesus and his healing. And then green. Think of the green like you see in the holly or the evergreen trees, your Christmas tree. Because those things are green, and I love that we say evergreen, because it's forever, all year round. They never stop being green. Just like Jesus never stops being with us. Jesus never stops loving us. Jesus never stops understanding what we're feeling, what we're going through. And we are always with Jesus in this life and in the life to come. So it's forever. And that's another thing to really appreciate. And if you see green, if you see anything evergreen, you know, or green decoration, think, Jesus. Jesus, that's a sign of Jesus. Any pine trees, any holly, any bushes that don't lose their leaves, that's like Jesus. Just doesn't stop. The love doesn't stop. His presence doesn't stop. But we're celebrating its beginning. We're celebrating his birthday. And so as you're on this treasure hunt, that's what we want to prepare for. And it makes me think of a story. It makes me think of a story of a man who really wanted to honor this Advent time by making a candy that would help all the kids to remember Jesus. Now, it was really popular, this is a few hundred years ago, for the people to give kids in church that were singing for Christmas white peppermint candies. They were just little sticks, and they were just white peppermint. That's all that candy makers had made so far. And so what they did was they give them to the kids so that they'd suck on them in their mouths to be quiet because the candy would be in their mouths. But that's not why we're talking about it today. We're talking about it because this candy maker thought, I can do something else with this to bring attention to Jesus, just like we're trying to do. And so he said, instead of just a straight stick, I could bend this stick. I could bend it so that it's like a J for Jesus, the letter J, so that it would remind everybody of Jesus. So if they're holding it this way and eating it this way, it'll be a J. But if they hold it this way, it'll still remind them of Jesus, because it's like a shepherd's crook. And the Lord is our shepherd. And this crook was used so gently to take care of the sheep. It was used to gently hook them back if they started to get into deep water. It would be a way for them to be saved from being carried away in the water, or hooked away from going over a sharp, dangerous, high place. Or it could even be used to separate two that were fighting and might hurt each other, or push away a dangerous animal. So this shepherd's crook, it shows how he was their leader. He was their guide. He was their protector. And that's what Jesus is to us. So the Lord is our shepherd. And that's how the candy cane started. But then he thought, I really like to do more. I really like to kind of decorate it. And he tried to decide how to do that. And then he thought, we're celebrating that Jesus came and lived as one among us. Emmanuel, God with us. So he thought, I'll honor that he had the blood of life like us. He was a living person. So he added bread to the cane. Oops, wrong game. He added bread to the cane. And when he added bread to the cane, then it made us think of the color of our blood, color of our heart, which is also the color of love. It's also the color of love. And he would think to himself, sometimes he would make 3 little lines and a thick line. 3 little lines for the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Or he'd say, if they can't see that well, then they'll see a big white line, a big red line, and a little line. And so then he would say, okay, big line, little line, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So we know it's the three in one that are always with us. And he really liked that. But then he decided, when I get the chance, when I get the color, I can't always get it, I'll add green. Because that has the color of evergreen, of everlasting love, everlasting presence. And so he added green, and then that could be the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit also. And look what happens if you put 2 candy canes together. It's a heart. Another symbol of God's love for us and our love for one another, because that's what Jesus came to teach us. Love God and love your neighbor as yourself. Those are the 2 main things he came to teach us. So at Christmas time, we have these wonderful things to remember, and you have a treasure hunt in preparation for Jesus' coming, because when you're doing the treasure hunt, you're being reminded of the real treasure, Jesus. Bye-bye.